Good afternoon, everyone. This is Stephanie Mann at the Safe Kids Now show, and I am so pleased to welcome today a wonderful man that's been working on keeping your health, being healthy, and he is a health lifestyle specialist. He's a coach, and he's author of the book Battleground Cancer. And he's raised in Chicago, Illinois, and has a BS in hospitality management from the University of Houston. And he has served on various roles within the industry of Fortune 500 companies. Well, everybody, welcome today to Mr. Jeff Cabe. So, welcome, Jeff. So happy to have you join us today. Hello.
Hey there, can you hear me well?
I can hear you. So
Awesome.
thank you
Thank you.
so much
Thank
for
you.
being with us. I have a ton of questions for you, but tell us first a little bit about your background and how you got started in the most important field I can think of is the health and lifestyle safety of all of us, because if we don't have our health, it makes life very difficult. So thank you for coming and joining us.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on the show, Stephanie. Again, my name is Jeff Cade, Healthy Lifestyle Specialist. I'm also the author of the book that you mentioned, Battleground Cancer. And I've been in the hospitality industry for some time and worked within the, served in different roles in terms of food and beverage operations, sales, marketing, and more recently, healthcare, dietary, and nutrition. And at one point, I made a pivot and I actually co-owned a healthy restaurant concept where we focused on high fiber, high protein, low carb meals or low carb meals and no fried foods were served. And I really wanted to take a deeper dive in the health and wellness space. And therefore, I kind of laid the foundation of the book. And we'll talk about the book a little later because it is a personal journey, if you will, regarding my life and watching my parents go through their battle with cancer. And so I really am passionate about, the industry and health and wellness because, of course, as you said, without your health, there's no wealth. And we need to make sure we lay that foundation as parents, grandparents, guardians, etc., for our children because they are definitely sponges. And what they see is what they get, So, again, I'm appreciative and humbled and honored to be on your show today.
Well, it's fascinating to me the fact that you wrote this book on battleground cancer, because so many of us have experienced cancer in our families one way or another. And do you think it is food related, or do you think it? I mean, maybe that's part of the factors, but tell us what did you learn as a result of getting involved in that?
You know, for me, being in the hospitality industry and serving in different roles, I look at it as a combination of genetics, science, and of course food, because it depends upon your upbringing. It also depends about your environment that you live in. But particularly and specifically for me, in my household, my parents, made sure that we had um, food at the table, and if it was a menu item I didn't like, oh well. They had to make sure that I had my protein and my veggies and my carbs, and of course some water. Water is great, definitely for hydration purposes, and I think that over time, as I said before, they planted the seed. And for me, you know, we can all have a sense of moderation of how we eat. We know that you have to have the cheat days. I understand about eating. It's good to eat clean and green. It's good to have your protein and veggies or have a plant-based diet or even be a vegan or vegetarian. However, we know there's a little bit of things going on in moderation. But I do know that things can be based upon your comfort zone and how we think in the mind about our go-to foods or the foods that we binge on that can really have a long-term effect on our diet and our health. And so for me, my goal and what I'm passionate about is really to help transform, those unhealthy choices into a vibrant, active lifestyle. When I talk one-on-one with people or to the masses, as it relates to a program that I've created, we could, of course, touch upon that later. But it's very important that we keep everything in everything as it relates to a healthy diet, and it's not always about the type of diet, like the Atkins diet or any other type of diets that are out there. It really just means that, hey, you have to understand your body. You have to understand your intake, your consumption, and sometimes you have to reduce some things because things can be hazardous. Example would be GMOs, or genetically modified organisms. And there are a lot out there, like potatoes and tomatoes and papaya and corn. A lot of things have happened over the amount of years. And so we just have to be careful that we really take a hard look at, the labeling content and nutritional information on packaging.
Can you kind of expand on how they modify food so it isn't as healthy as it should be, those GMOs? Because a lot of people don't quite understand that.
Pretty much, it's about how these major manufacturers, these companies, how they recreate certain things. So, for example, I know that there was a time in my youth that we would just have vegetables, and we didn't know if it was GMO or not, right? It was just vegetables, and I was happy to have my broccoli. I love broccoli and green beans and asparagus. I like my greens and even my salads. And we started to understand the term organic, and eating a organic diet, or pretty much getting natural resources of food free of pesticides or toxins. Because once you have those type of vegetables or any food with pesticides or toxins, well, that's going to damage your body, obviously. You want to go to these type of stores that are labeled organic, and utilize that as much as possible. The GMO, those are just genetically modified organisms or foods that have just been manufactured, and they're not healthy for us. It's really the type of manufacturing and processing of a certain type of food or vegetable.
Yeah, I'm wondering because all of us go to the grocery store and we see on one side organic, on the other side you see the same vegetable, at least it looks like the same vegetable, but it's not organic. So the difference would be that it's been sprayed with pesticides, is that correct?
Well, not necessarily. There are ways to, like, for example, I use something called Veggie Wash, and it's just a spray, a good chemical, good, positive, friendly, user-friendly chemical that I utilize to spray before I steam my vegetables. For example, whether it's broccoli, whether it's asparagus, anything that's fresh, because we all know that organic can cost a little bit more, but it's worth it. Your body will thank you. But let's just say I'm just going to the grocery store and I don't want to pay extra dollars. So I'm gonna get my regular vegetables. I'm not saying they're GMO, because if you notice in grocery stores, they're not gonna label it GMO. It's just your regular. And of course, you have the organic section. And there's nothing wrong, of course, with just regular vegetables. People have been doing that for years. This is about how you wash your vegetables before you consume them. And so
okay, are you saying that just rinsing them off with water isn't enough?
I just spray, and cleanse them.
Okay, you're breaking up a little bit.
I think there was a time. No,
Jeff?
But that's, we would say for apples.
Okay. Yeah, you're breaking up just a little bit. Yes, go ahead. Okay, I can't hear you now. Okay. Okay, we're having a little bit of
So-
technical difficulty because we can't hear you.
Going to a
Okay. Okay, let me interrupt here for a minute because we're having a little bit of technical difficulty and you're saying
now?
such important things. Okay, go ahead, let's try again. Repeat that, please. Yeah. Okay, well, let's take a little break and we'll figure out the problems we have. So let's take our commercial announcement at this point and we will be back in 30 seconds.
You're listening to All About Us Radio. We're live streaming 24/7, playing old school versus new school. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at AAU Media, and visit our website www.aaumedia.com. Call us at 1-833-369-1444, extension 1, and leave us an inspirational message or request. You're listening to All About Us Radio.
Okay, we are back and we took a little break and I am delighted to have with me today Jeff Cade, and he is the author of Battleground Cancer and he is a lifestyle coach and author. So let's see if we got our sound a little better this time, Jeff. So please continue with where you were telling us a little bit about the food that we eat and how we keep it clean and safe for our families.
Sure. Thank you again, Stephanie. So if you recall years ago, what we would do, we would take our fruits like our apples or our vegetables and we would just run water over them for a period of time,
Right.
thinking that we're getting the grit and dirt off of them. And that's true. However, you need to really utilize a certain type of spray. I use Veggie Wash, as I described before, to kind of get all of it off. And so there's nothing wrong with running cold water over your fruits and vegetables. I just know that you're not getting all of the actual glue or the pesticides off of the actual, or the paste that's actually off of your fruits and vegetables. And I had been doing that wrong for a number of years. Why? Because I saw my parents do it. I saw older adults do it. I saw some friends do it. And there's nothing wrong, again, with just running water over your fruits and vegetables before you steam them and consume them. It's just that to get rid of all the grit and the paste and grime, you want to use a type of fruit and vegetable wash to really eradicate all of the grit off of the things that you're consuming.
Okay, I'm putting that down on my list. Veggie Wash. Okay,
Yep.
Veggie Wash.
And you can find that in it's any grocery store. It's called Veggie Wash. I'm sure there's other labels or names, but I use Veggie Wash.
Okay, that's great.
It has a just so you know, it has a citric kind of lemon flavor to it, but you don't taste that obviously once your vegetables are being steamed, but it does have that citric taste.
Okay, I have a question a personal question because I use a microwave. And I'm not sure, but I've heard that microwaving food isn't that great. So, what is your opinion of microwaving food?
You know what? I'm guilty too. I'm
Oh, I
guilty too.
okay.
I try not. I really try not to use the microwave because you know you're overheating or you're killing the obviously the protein and the things that are in your food that you're about to consume. And so all of that
Mm.
the extra heat, if you will, is pretty much cooking your. It's reheating, yes, but it's cooking and it's damaging all the vegetables and enzymes that you're taking in.
Oh,
Um, so it's good to get that fresh hot meal off the stove or off the in the oven,
yeah.
and go right to it. But I am guilty, and so I know that I have to reduce that because it's not the best for. I have some friends of mine who don't even use theirs because they realize, you know, it's just not healthy in the long term. And I'll give you a tip here. There were
Okay.
times I remember people would um, microwave things in styrofoam containers, or they would microwave things with the plastic lining still over the foods. Well,
Mm.
as you know, there's chemicals in the plastic. There's chemicals in the styrofoam. So when you're reheating foods, you're fusing those chemicals in your food that you're about to consume, and that's not a good thing. So anytime you want to reheat food, I would not do it in a plastic container or on plastic at all. It would just be a plate if you're going to reheat anything.
Okay, so you're saying that take the food out of that plastic container and put it in a glass dish of some sort,
Or, a plate, a dinner
a
plate.
plate.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. All right, well, tell us a little more about Battleground Cancer, because that is the book that you wrote. And all of us have, not everybody, but most of us have had cancer somewhere in our families or our friends. So tell us a little bit about that, please.
No, thank you. Thank you. So, um, for me, of writing that particular book, it was a personal journey because my parents died of cancer 6 years apart.
Mm.
My father died of pancreatic cancer. My mother died of breast cancer, and it was 6 years apart. And so for me, it was very, I guess, challenging because it was during my 20s and my young adult life of really having that parental touch, guidance, and love,
Mm.
and just trying to navigate life, if you will. And I noticed that more so my father, he was a person that was active. He wasn't overweight. He was a football player for the Navy, and but he smoked cigarettes a lot.
Mm.
He also drank that wonderful red can that people like to describe as joy, which
Oh
is
dear.
which is Coca-Cola. Yes, and and so we know that there's a ton of sugar and a lot of high fructose corn syrup in our sodas and our diet sodas.
Right.
And he drank that for a number of years, probably over 40, 50 years. And
Wow.
I think over time, that helped led the way for him to get pancreatic cancer, and he succumbed to that. So for me, it took a long time for me to get that from out of here mindset and the heart set to actually, put a pen to the pad and write it, because it was, even though it was therapeutic, it was very emotional. But I also knew that I wanted to share to the world my content and education and my research from my experience in the industry, their journey, because I also know, as you just said, that a lot of people that we know in our circles, our family and friends, have cancer, or they have other diseases that are hurting them, or because of those diseases. And cancer, as many forms they are, there are different ways to ways to avoid. And so I'm really demonstrating the journey of how I was able to watch them go through their and to share that I have and the research I've done with the kids in the world, and make sure that who experience form that this book would be a opportunity for them, a way to kind of consult them.
Okay, we're still having a little problem with breaking up. So let me ask you another question and see if this clears up a little bit. Because what ingredients are essential? I'm sorry? Yeah. I don't know why we're having those problems today. Okay. Where are you located, Jeff? Maybe it has something to do with the weather. Where are you, Jeff? Yeah, I can't hear. All right. Well, let's take another little break and we'll see if we can't clear it up again because it was going great there for a while. Okay. Hang on and we'll be right back.
Pillow Throw and Tuck. It's handmade by myself, and you only can get it here, and it's patent, and it's only here at Rococo Design. It's like a regular pillow, or you can take the blanket out like so, fluff up the pillow, open up your blanket, wrap it around yourself, and then you can lay on your sofa and relax with your Pillow Throw and Tuck. When you're done with it, just flip it over. When you don't want the blanket anymore, you just fold it over twice. Fold it over twice again. Fold it over. And tuck it in the back. And there you go. You're back to the Pillow Throw and Tuck. Rococo Design.
Okay, we're back and we are talking to Jeff Cade, and he is an expert on food, nutrition, and he has a book called Battleground Cancer. So Jeff, welcome back. Let's see if our link is a little clearer now because we were breaking up a little bit. So please continue where you were, talking to us about giving us some tips on how to keep your family safe. So please continue. We'll see if it works this time. Can you hear me, Jeff?
Oh,
I don't know. We seem to still be having technical difficulties.
Talking about battleground cancer. Can you hear me?
Okay. I can hear you,
Yeah.
but yeah, please go ahead.
I can hear you. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay. Jeff, we can't hear you
Talking about
at this point.
battleground
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I just want to tell our audience that we have a wonderful guest, and I wish we could hear everything he has to say. For some reason, we've got. Okay. All right. We're picking up part of your sentences, Jeff, and we're not getting a clear picture at this point. But I will tell you that he has written an amazing book called Battleground Cancer. And he also has a course on the ultimate health and happiness, a progressive course. So I'm hoping he can tell us a little bit of information about that. Let's try it again and see if we can get a clear description of, tell us a little bit about your course, Jeff. No. We seem to have lost our connection at this point. So we can see you, but you're not moving. So we'll just keep on talking for a few minutes and see if our technician can clear that up a little bit so that we can hear, because he has a wealth of information about wonderful things that he has done, and he's helping other people to stay healthy and avoid having cancer. And of course, cancer has various reasons why people get that disease. And some of it is about nutrition. And he mentioned his father, who drank a lot of Coke. And as I recall, and I think I heard this a long time ago, that there are 16 spoonfuls, maybe tablespoonfuls of sugar in every glass or every Coke bottle. Maybe it's teaspoons. I hope it's not tablespoons, but I know it's 16 tablespoons or teaspoons of sugar. I don't care which it is. It's way too much sugar. And people are, they don't assimilate it well. As a matter of fact, I worked in a candy store at one point, and I ate lots of sugar. And as a result of that and not having a good diet, I got a terrible case of arthritis. So there are many reasons why nutrition is very important for all of us, because if you don't put the right food into your body, you're going to have a problem. And I sure did. And it took me about 10 years to figure out why I had gout in my wrists. And it was because I ate too much sugar working in a candy store. We could eat all the sugar we wanted, all the candy, but boy, I paid a price for it. So we need to watch our intake of what we're eating and how healthy we're eating. And of course, Jeff is talking about the in fruits and vegetables, which are critical for our health. So I want to thank Jeff for being with us today. And I'm sorry that I don't know where the weather, maybe the weather interfered with our transmission, but unfortunately, we were not able to finish our interview because of the breaking up. And I'm afraid you weren't able to hear the wonderful information he had to share with us. So we will have him back at a different time. And so I am going to sign off at this point and say thank you so much for joining us. And next week, we are going to have another amazing man. His name is Daniel Moe, and he was a former investigator, and he was with the Department of Child Safety in Arizona. So we're going to talk about child safety. Now, what's more important than family safety, child safety, and keeping all of us safe? So join us next Wednesday at 1 o'clock on Pacific time, and we will look forward to talking to you at that time. Thank you for joining us.
You're listening to All About Us Radio. We're live streaming 24/7, playing old school versus new school. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at AAU Media. and visit our website, www.aaumedia.com. Call us at 1-833-369-1444, extension 1, and leave us an inspirational message or request. You're listening to All About Us Radio.